So I want to walk you through what I think these ideas mean. And I'm not asking you to believe anything I tell you. It's like, don't. Hack away at it, man. See if you can see where it's flawed. I can't. I've tried. So, because I don't want to be standing on sand. And so what I've tried to do is to look at human history and prehistory and to see what it is that we need to move forward. And we have to be united with our history. Human beings are historical creatures, and so if there's a divide between us and our history, then all sorts of weird ideas are going to invade us. You know, it's like, it's quite funny because, again, with the rationalist atheists, you know, they basically think that if we dispense with religion, everybody would turn into Rene Descartes, you know. It's like, we'd be all rational. It's like, are you out of your bloody mind? Look at the New Age people. You know, that's where we'd be going first. It's like, we'd be like Shirley, what's her name, MacLaine, who I read once believed that the reason that there were so many allergies in San Francisco was because of aliens. It's like, oh, that's a much more likely place for human belief systems to end up than like, poof, we're all Rene Descartes. Like, that's not going to happen. You know, one of the things Jung said, which I just loved, he said, the purpose of religious structures is to stop people from having religious experiences. Now, that's a smart saying. So, anyways, so we're going to walk through this. And, you know, what I've come to believe is that the archetypes we're going to talk about, because I believe archetypes is a pretty good way of thinking about them, constitute the fundamental presumptions of human being. You can't not presume them. That's why they're religious. You can't escape from them. Now, that doesn't mean they're right, but it means that they're as right as we are. And how right are we? Well, we don't know. You know, I mean, there were people that, I read somebody in the 1970s, he was a journalist, he wrote a book called The Ghost in the Machine. You know, and this was a fairly common proposition at the time. His idea was that, well, you know, we're animals that have become self-conscious, and that basically drove us incurably insane. And so we're like an evolutionary dead end, and it's only a matter of time before we extinguish ourselves. It's like, that's possible, you know. No other animal has ever become self-conscious. It's a big burden, you know, and it does drive people kind of crazy, and no wonder, you know, because you have to contemplate your mortality all the time, or at least some of the time. And also, you're completely aware of how useless and ugly and, you know, all these other things you are compared to whatever the ideal might be. It's a lot of burden. But it seems to me, too, that human beings are peculiar in that we can actually choose. We have some facility for choice. I think we can decide whether we're an evolutionary dead end or not. And I also believe that grounding our thinking in these ancient ideas makes it far less likely that we're going to fall prey to ideological possession, which is extraordinarily dangerous, and it'll also give us the meta framework to conceptualize what might constitute an ideal. And, well, so, you know, that's because I wanted to find out what's an alternative to ideology. And nothing is the wrong answer, because people can't live on nothing. Life is too hard. You have to see that your being is justifiable in order to thrive. And given that your being is characterized by suffering, that's no easy matter. Suffering and limitation, that's the basic truths of life. It's a Buddhist doctrine for that matter, right? And it's certainly not something that the Jews would disagree with, and it's central to Christian thinking as well. You know, most religious structures think you're doomed, and there's going to be a lot of pain along the way. It's like, yeah, that's true. Okay, now we've got that out in the open. What do you do about it? Well, that's the question.